Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Welcome to M1 Racing and our live coverage of the G-Force Racing Elite League. My name is Mark, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour or so. I'm delighted that Pete is with me as always in the background. We are short of numbers in the commentary box this week. Toby and Rio are both away, so you've just got me for the next hour and a half or so as we take you through round 5 of the Elite League, which is going to come to us this week from Austin in USA, the scene of a fantastic feature and sprint race in season 1, which we'll talk a bit more about in just a moment, and it's going to bring us to the halfway mark of season 3 as we say goodbye to F1 23 and look forward to F1 24, and now Canada taking us right up to the last week as F1 24 is released, but lots to happen between now and then. So let's bring you up to speed on our drivers. There's been a few little tweaks to the driver lineup as we've gone through the first half of the season. So you'll see that Charlie Ark has now been joined by a Roadrunner in the Red Bull team, with Mr. Hannes stepping down from driving in the league just for a little while as they take a breather. We look forward to having Mr. Hannes back in the not too distant future, hopefully with F1 24. No changes in Ferrari, and M. Dorling picking up their first victory a couple of races ago. They'd been close to that a couple of times, but they grabbed that victory. And then the very strong Mercedes teams of Mac T and SS7, followed by M1 Righty, our reigning champion from season 2, alongside their teammate Ghosty. Then Spicy and Lost in the McLarens. We definitely have Spicy with us. You can see the lobby in the bottom right corner of your screen there, folks, waiting for our drivers to come in. There are 2 driver seats available at Alfa Romeo, so if you're joining us here on M1 Racing, have yet to get involved with the G-Force Racing League and would like to do so, I see Jay just joining, so both McLarens out this week. There are seats available at Alfa Romeo, at Haas, and one at AlphaTauri. So if you'd like to get involved with this league, you enjoy what you see here today or have done over previous weeks, you can sign up using the link to the Discord server on my Twitch channel and come and say hi and get involved. The owner SS7 will be in touch, and hopefully we can get you one of those remaining seats through to the end of the season. Our Aston Martin drivers, DS79 and F1 Lewis, they are going to be sitting out this week, having picked up a race ban from last time out. So no Aston Martins on the grid this week, but they'll be back in a week or two's time. Then comes NRG Panzerotto on their own, currently for AlphaTauri, which we haven't seen for a little while. And then Desaves and Emeleki. And Desaves had a very good Ironman race this last Sunday, so we might be looking for them to do quite well here around the Circuit of the Americas. Last week we were in Abu Dhabi, and Roadrunner came over to take their first ever victory with the G-Force Racing Elite League, picking up 25 points. They didn't get the complete maximum. M. Dorling picked up the fastest lap with a 1:23.776. M1 Righty, our current champion, they're in finishing in second, and then Mac T consistently up there in the high scoring points positions, finishing in third for Mercedes. Ghosty, M1's teammate, came in fourth, and M. Dorling in fifth. SS7, our league owner, finishing in sixth, then Desaves 7th, Spicy in 8th, Emeleki in 9th, and then Charlie Ark, after quite a strong showing in the sprint in Belgium, came home in 10th, so a bit of a tough race for them. And Obo and F1 Lewis just finishing outside, Obo just finishing outside the points. F1 Lewis and Lost, DS and Ace Pilot all sadly DNFing. Got David T in the chat. Welcome, David. Good to have you with us this week. And so that means, got my eye on the lobby, folks, just so we don't miss ready up. M1 Righty leads the championship just by 6 points from Mac T, so it's very close at the top, and SS7 is not far behind them either. Charlie Ark, after maximum points in Imola, has struggled the last couple of races, but they are there on 50 points in fourth, and then Roadrunner, after a big haul of 25 last week, has moved up into fifth. M. Dorling there in sixth, Ghosty in seventh, and Emeleki in 8th on 29. Obo's got 19, Desaves with 16. Mr. Hannes, having left us, does have 12, and Spicy on 10. And F1 Lewis with the single point there from Imola. And in terms of the constructors' standings, Mercedes are leading the way. That strong team of SS7 and MAC-T consistently picking up big points each week gives them a small lead of just 6 points from Alpine. I can see that battle going all the way to the end of the season. Both M1 Righty and Goat Ghosty, very strong drivers. Then come the Red Bulls, and Charlie, I'm sure, will be looking to add some points onto that tally. And then the Ferraris on just 2 points behind them on 60. So many of our teams already picking up points. Only Haas and AlphaTauri pretty much without having any drivers, not surprisingly, not yet on the scoreboard. But all the others picking up points week on week after 4 rounds. And this week we are heading into the USA, to the home of David T and Mac T, to the circuit of the Americas. I say last time out, and actually I think, let me move on my video in the top right corner, folks. I see you've just been looking at us. Let's get to the end of the race there in Abu Dhabi. The last couple of laps, it was very close between Roadrunner and M1 Righty and Mac-T and Goat Ghosty, all battling it out to take victory. David T, thank you. Vegas is Mac-T's home. Vegas, I don't know, they must bring up the calendar again. I don't think we are going to Vegas, or are we? Yes, we are, round 8. Oh, excellent. Now, that was the scene of some incredible racing last time out, and really set up the grand finale we had in Abu Dhabi, which M1 Righty eventually came through to win, but it all rested on, or all turned really, in Las Vegas, where SHS Predestinato really struggled. And Kota is David's home, so we are going to head there now. So sit back, relax, folks, enjoy round 5 of the G-Force Racing Elite League from the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. We'll see you the other side of this. Now we've got 3 cars wide. And Mac-T's trying to get down the inside of him, Dorling. They're going to do it. Great switch back from him, one there. All right, folks, let's go racing. Well, welcome back, folks, and here we are in Texas for round 5. We have just noticed that Charlie Ark is not on the grid, so we're hoping they will join us on the back end of qualifying here and actually be out there. And I'm also hoping Charlie's going to be around, because Charlie's going to be joining me for a special edition of the GFR podcast, which we're going to record live here on my Twitch channel straight after today's race. So we're going to take a short break, and I believe Charlie's going to join me for that, and it would be great if he's actually been out there racing as well, so we can talk about his race. We will see, and we'll keep an eye out for Charlie, but we do have 10 drivers out there, and even though we don't have a very full grid today, I can guarantee you with these drivers they will give us some very, very close racing. And if you've been with us over the recent weeks where we've had 12, 13 drivers out on track, it has been nose to tail throughout that race. So I'm very much looking forward to this one here in Texas. We'll keep an eye on the weather. I know Pete will be keeping an eye on that. It's dry here but at the moment, but we had rain on previous races and indeed in the Ironman, so we won't count that out entirely. I wonder if David can give us a real-time weather forecast. And welcome, Spaghetti. Good to have you here on M1 Racing. Thanks ever so much for following. Now, before we go any further, I do want to recognise the day that we're speaking to you on. May the 1st, 1994 was a very significant day in the F1 world. It's the day that we lost the great Ayrton Senna at the San Marino Grand Prix following Roland Ratzenberger just the day before. And so very significant but sad anniversary for anyone who loves motor racing, and we wanted to recognise that here on M1 Racing today. And for all of you who are with us, I have created some very special Senna emotes for you to use. So for anyone who's just a follower, you will have access to our Senna 12 emote, and if you're one of my subscribers, you'll also have one very special animated Senna 12 emote. And obviously the number 12, synonymous with Ayrton Senna, being the number of the car that they won their very first World Championship in, the McLaren, all those many, many years ago. So please, and David T, thank you for taking advantage of that already. So we remember both Ayrton and Roland Ratzenberger with great affection. And we might talk a little bit more about Ayrton Senna on the podcast a little bit later on. So let's get out there onto track and we will get some laps in. Decevest does look to be on a hot lap here, coming through a section of the track that is very, very similar to Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel in Silverstone, which is where we're going to be next week, folks. The home race for M1 Racing and indeed a number of our drivers. Quite looking forward to blasting around Silverstone next week, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are on board with Decevest as they get onto this big, long DRS straight and getting the advantage of DRS from the car in front. I wonder if that is their teammate. It's difficult to tell with the sunlight. Indeed it is. So that's Leckie ducking out the way, giving Decevest an excellent tow. Mac T setting the early fastest time, 1:32.375. Then comes M1 Righty with 1:32.109. So we're coming around the slightly more twisty technical part of the Circuit of the Americas here. Cars will want to try flat out with, certainly on soft tyres, low fuel loads. That's not an issue around there, but as the tyres get older into the race, you'll see a number of our cars starting to lose grip through there. And then we come through the final turn of turn 20 over the start-finish line, and Decevest sets the time at 1:32.841. Looks as though Jay is also on a hot lap here. We welcome Jay back after missing out on a couple of races and then having a pretty tough race last week through not much fault of their own. Losing out in a battle with F1 Lewis last week. Jay trying to get ahead of M1 Righty's time at 1:32.109. M1 Righty certainly setting the early pace here for everyone else. And Jay is not happy with that one, so in they come. This is Leckie, so Decevest's teammate, affectionately known as Mr. 1010 Wings in the league. For Leckie's very slippery setup that they often have. They're going to get a tow now from Decevest, their teammate returning the favour. Car's heading upwards of 200 miles an hour now as we head down into turn 12. Hard on the brakes. Now through 13 and 14. This section of track gave us some of the best racing in season 1. We were 1.3 cars wide going through that corner. Really iconic moment from season 1. Leckie now sweeping around 16, 17 and 18. We're going to go through 19. Bit of a lift. Don't go beyond track limits on the exit of 19. Braking for turn 20. Back on the power as quickly as we can. We're going to come over the line, set a 1:33.055. Leckie having struggled a fair bit recently in qualifying, but has come through to get some significant points in the races themselves. So qualifying not being their friend. Obo here on a lap, their first time to set. Their teammate M. Dorling set a time of 1:32.450 and had been helping Obo with that slipstream, and this is really where it helps to have a teammate out there. It's going to be worth 10 to 20 kilometres an hour down that straight, if not more. So Obo now coming around the final corner here. They'll be getting their first time in. And Obo sets a 132.781. I'm going to bring up the lap data. So as I was saying, folks, it's going to be close between all of our drivers here. Less than a second, as Peter's rightly saying in my ear, between first to ninth. That is how close these drivers are, and very, very evenly matched. And we have seen various different winners this season, and as one of David T's best stats of recent times is that we have yet to have a repeat winner in season 3, which is unusual compared to previous seasons with M1 Righty or SHS Predestinato and even SS7 getting repeat wins, but not so far after 4 rounds. Maybe this will be the first week, but I would be inclined to keep a close eye on the car we're following right now, Mac T. Mac T finished here in Season 1 in the feature and the sprint race. They really announced themselves to the league, getting third in both of those races. And in recent weeks has been getting stronger and stronger. They are the current leader in the Ironman also. So got to be one to watch out for on their home track here. Or close to home track, I should say. I suppose Vegas would be their true home track. So MacT is setting their car up now, looking to beat a 132.375. A few more cars coming out with 9 minutes left of qualifying to go. And we will ride on board with MacT as they start their flying lap. Just coming around to the back of the circuit here, so a bit of a cruise here for MacT. Just get some temperature into those soft tyres, but try and reduce the wear on them before we get going. The yellow flags that you see are just for cars going slowly round the track. We won't see any safety cars during qualifying. MacT gets on the power, and let's go for a lap of the Circuit of the Americas. Heading down the main start-finish straight into turn 1, up the hill, braking incredibly hard, hoping that the car will rotate through turn 1, and then we're going to head back down the hill through turn 2. And then these sweeping bends, the 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Flat out for MacT through these. You've got to trust your car and hope you've got a good balance through there. Then the trickier corners as we go up the hill here. The back end want to step out on us as we get on the power, then blast down the hill. Into turn 11, the hairpin. A number of overtaking opportunities there, and then we're going to come into the next main overtaking spot, which will be into turn 12. No help from SS7 here for MacT, so they're doing this all on their own. We're into sector 2 now. MacT was 1/10 up in sector 1, so just holding on to that advantage through sector 2, not improving through sector 2. Remember, they're after M1 Righty's time of a 132.109. As we come round the final corners here, out wide over those curbs, dancing with track limits as we do so through turn 20. Back on the power over the line for a 132.361, only marginally improves for MacT. So M1 Righty looking safe at the moment. SS7, their teammate, also looking to improve. SS7 again just 600s up in sector 1, so not really improving massively at this point. If anything, actually lost a little bit of time in sector 2 there. Ghosty was improving in sector 1, but has lost nearly 2/10 in sector 2, so not going to be challenging their teammate. And SS7 is backing out that one into the pits. We'll go for, let me get down to Jay. Jay is on the lap. So Jay does set a time, 133.071. This is on their in lap. So Jay is at least on the board, but currently provisional 10th for them. So Obo is starting again. Up the hill here into turn 1. We'll see a lot of attempts both on... Oh, and Obo really struggling with grip on the exit of turn 1 there. We'll see a lot of overtaking attempts also into turn 1. And Obo really struggling to keep this Ferrari pointing in the right direction. They indeed have backed out of that. So I think they will save their tyres and go one more time. Emelecki is now back out. They have got the Ferrari in front of them, which should stay well out of the way. Indeed they do. That was Obo there. Thank you, Obo. Down into turn 11. On the power we go with Emelecki, trying to improve on that 133.055. Very bright and sunny here in Texas today. Low sunshine on this particular evening. Through 30, lots of different lines through there. Emelecki's overtaken me through that corner before. He came from nowhere and I had no idea he kept on the track, but there is a very different line through there. Emelecki up in green in both sectors 1 and 2, improving by about 0.2 so far. So this is going to move Emelecki up if they can keep it within track limits here. See a lot of drivers go wide through turn 19 and 20. And improving by over half a second from Emelecki, 132.502. Well done, Emelecki, who only literally just made it into qualifying. So very good from Emelecki. That moves them up into provisional 4th place. And as you see, very, very close between all of these drivers. Dorling is coming around now to start their next flying lap. I think they're waiting to go. Yeah, looking to get this exit right. Absolutely perfect out of turn 20. Away we go. You see the elevation change here in Texas is massive. As we then head straight back down that hill, the Ferrari of Dorling not struggling with the grip in the same way that the teammate Obo did just a few minutes ago. Taking as much of those curves, shortening that line through that sequence of curves as they possibly can. Up through 8 and then 9, really tricky on the exit here. The car goes light as it goes up over the hill. Loads of oversteer. Down into turn 11. Nice apex there from Dorling. We're back on the power. DRS line, activation line comes up now. We head towards turn 11. Just got an eye on the drivers chatting, just in case we may see Charlie Ark come in. Otherwise we are going to miss Charlie for the race as well. So Dorling coming around. These much tighter corners, and that one in particular has a dip right on the apex, which unsettles these cars very, very quickly. Flat out, very close to the inside of the curbs from Dorling there, trying to shorten the track distance as much as they can. Through the final corner, Dorling trying to improve. Oh, a big step out from the back end. This does improve very slightly, 132.409. Probably lost half a tenth or so coming out of that last corner. Has possibly meant they miss out on provisional second. Let's get up to M1 righty. They're just about to start their hot lap. I'm going to bring up our track map as well, so we can see where everyone is. So all of our drivers now looking to set one last lap. Just a few moments left of qualifying here. We do only get the one qualifying session, so we don't do Q1, Q2 or Q3 like you would see in the real world on most of our races here on GForce Racing. We typically save that for the final race of the season, which this year is coming from Qatar. So this is M1 righty heading down towards turn 12 as we go through there. The Alpine team very strong this year with Goat Ghosty and M1 righty. Goat taking the seat from SHS Predestinato, our victor from Season 1. and M1 Righty's teammate from last season, which gave us some of the best racing we've ever seen, and it's carried on this year, and Goat has really demonstrated their ability to drive well in this league with some very strong performances. But M1 now is looking to hold on to that first place. Keep an eye on their sector times, folks, top right corner of your screen, as we go through the hairpin of turn 1, heading towards that strange structure in the middle of the circuit there. We can get right up to the platform there, get a pretty amazing view of the whole circuit. We're going through sector 1, M1 Righty dropping down a gear, just slightly down at this point on their first lap, which was a bit of a blinder in all honesty at 132.109. Keep an eye on our timing screens for others coming through. Ghost is yes, I think anyone else has only just started, so they're just refreshing on my screen. So M1 still trying to claw back a tenth or so, really cutting that corner and going very wide. So that, I think, will be the end of M1 Righty's qualifying. They were indeed 2 tenths down. Mac T is slightly up, so by about 9/1000ths of a second through sector 1. So they've got some way to go here. A good 3 tenths or more. We head down to turn 12. That sun in our eyes as we approach the braking zone is not going to make it easy for our drivers. MacT is a tenth up through sector 2. Needs to get another 2.5 tenths and they may well be stealing pole position from M1 Righty. Right on board here with MacT. Staying within track limits there for MacT. Round the final corner. Over the start finish line. For 132.361. He has not, I think Ghosty has just come in and stolen it. So as MacT has come over the line, my screen, oh no, it's held on to it. 132.112. So my screen had not updated quickly enough. Yeah, so M1 Righty has taken provisional pole, but only just 0.003 of a second from MacT. So what a cracking race we are going to have on our hands here at the front, folks. MacT in second. Goat Ghosty alongside M Dorling, third and fourth. David T's commented on that. That's got to be the closest difference in a qualifying time at the front I think we've ever seen. That'll be one for the scrapbook for sure. Emaleki in fifth, alongside SS7. Then Spicy Nuts in seventh. Obo in 8th, SFS in 9th, and Jay, not improving on their time of 133.071, is in 10th. But we won't count out the McLaren drivers at this point because we know they can be pretty slippery in a straight line, that is for sure. And this track circuit really does reward a very even balanced setup. Yes, it's got some big long straights, but it's also got that twisty turny part of the circuit towards the rear end of the loop there, and that will... It's very easy to lose time through there if you haven't got the right setup on. But certainly M1 Righty and MacT are definitely set up for success here. Oh, okay, David T, thank you for that in the stats. So Ironman had a 0.001 difference at Zandvoort. So that is, we know who's beating that, aren't they? So it's what a close qualifying we had there between MacT and M1 Righty, but that only serves us well for the race, which is going to be starting in a moment. 50% race we have in the Elite League. So there will be a pit stop, at least one for our drivers. What I learned from doing the Ironman here is that the Circuit of Americas is not very kind on tyres, but you can take hard tyres a very long way, is what I found. I don't know if this is what our drivers will do today. I can see a mixture of a medium and a hard strategy. But let me know if you're watching on the stream who you think is going to win this one. Pete, if you can hear me, give us your prediction. Who do you think is going to win it? Pete thinks, well, he hopes it was going to be MacT, but I think it's going to be, he thinks it's more likely to be M1 Righty. Do you know what? I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for MacT this week. They've come so very, very close. 5 lights are on. All right, folks, let's go racing for round 5 of the G-Force Racing Elite League. From here at the Circuit of the Americas, Texas in the USA, M1 Righty has led us away, and Goat Ghosty is alongside MacT into turn 1 and will now have the inside into turn 2. So Goat Ghosty moves through on MacT. Much better start from Goat Ghosty than MacT. We do have a yellow flag in sector 1, and that looks to be, if I get down to Spicy Nuts. So Spicy having a dreadful start there, dropping back down to the rear of the grid. Jay has, as a result, moved up into 7th. So that's Spicy recovering there in 10th, has got a lot of work now to do. So that has not worked out for Spicy in the early stages of the race. Back up to the front where we've got M1 Righty leading from Goat Ghosty. The 2 Alpine drivers leading the way. Then comes MacT and their teammate SS7 for Mercedes, and SS7 getting through on MacT. Then comes M. Dorling, will be wanting to stay in close contact with the Mercedes in front of them, and there's a dive down the inside from Jay into turn 12 there. Hasn't made that one work. Did look like a little bit of contact with M. Dorling, but M. Dorling comes out ahead, and now Jay and into the clutches of Desaves. So Desaves trying to find a way through on Jay. Jay will now have the inside going through turn 16, and Jay holds on to that place. But Jay, as you can see on the medium tyres, Desaves on the hards, that Williams will be looking to try and get some temperature into those hards pretty quickly. And that's allowed Jay to stay in front of Desaves. And M1 Righty setting the early pace as we start lap 2. Lots to talk about already in lap 2. I was just checking to see if Jay had any damage there. We'll also get down to Spicy, see if we can see anything on the front of their car. Spicy's not into the pits, so they carry on, which is good news. So back to the front. M1 Righty leads the way from Goat Ghosty. Car's starting to settle in a little bit here. We're not looking to push too hard. Goat behind them. Now Goat will need to probably try and get through on M1 pretty quickly if they've got much more pace on those medium tyres. Their teammate M1 is on the hards. So Goat will not want to sit in the dirty air of their teammate for too long and wear out those medium tyres too quickly. As Pete said in my ear, it's the usual strategy for M1. If there's anyone who knows how to make the hard medium strategy work, it is most definitely M1 Righty. SS7 has also got on to the medium tyres, I see. So that's allowing SS7 to stay with Goat Ghosty. And MacT happy to let their teammate head off in front of them and drag their hard tyres a little bit further into the race. 28 laps. We'll be pitting on the mediums around about lap 13 or 14. Hard tyres looking to go a little bit longer, and perhaps if you get a safety car or some kind of event, that may play into the hands of the hard tyres later on in the race. If we get a very early safety car, though, that's going to be a real challenge for our hard runners. So M1 and Goat Ghosty, though, look unlikely to be causing a safety car. Following line astern there into turn 1. Very controlled from the Alpine drivers at this point. DRS is enabled, so this is where we will start to see some overtaking down the 2 straights where we have DRS. The main one between turns 11 and 12, and then down the start-finish straight between turn 20 and number 1. A lot of overtaking for us into turn 12 for sure. We'll see if Goat decides to take advantage of that here. So plenty of battery for Goat Ghosty here, and indeed they are on the move past their teammate of M1 Righty. I doubt there will be any team orders at play here. Certainly not at this stage in the race. And so now SS7 will be looking to try and do a similar kind of thing if they can. And we will keep an eye on the battery charges of our cars. You'll be able to see it on SS7's steering wheel there. That yellow bar at the bottom of their steering wheel tells us how much battery we have left to deploy. And SS7 has a lot to play with there. So that will allow them to defend as well as attack. and is super powerful when coupled with DRS. This is the first of those DRS zones as we come over the start-finish line. Goat Ghosty setting the fastest lap so far, 136.509 on lap 3. Purple in that sector 2 is really where Goat was able to make that time up, and that tells you the value of DRS around here. 0.2 faster than everyone else. As we go to turns 3, 4 and 5 here with SS7. 3-second time penalty early on for Jay, and that will be for track limits. These white lines we see around the edge of the track, folks. If we get all 4 wheels over those 3 times or more, the race controller are going to give us the 3-second time penalty, and they will stack. So the more of those you commit, the more 3 seconds we get added on. Or I don't think we'll have a huge amount. I just see David T's message in the chat about beating the quality records to a Jerez 97. What a great memory you have, David. So round we come through turn 12. SS7 not taking advantage of DRS and looking to get pushed past M1 righty there. So they've retained third place. Their teammate Mac T is sticking with them, as is M Dorling. So M Dorling holding the station there in 5th. Let's bring up the tyres, so when we're talking about tyres, you've got a sense of what we're looking at. So only 3 drivers deciding to start on mediums, and I think that's shown the respect a lot of these drivers have to the league, that actually they think most of there's unlikely to be safety cars here today, and therefore they can plan to go a lot longer into the race. But certainly many of the teams looking to split their strategy. So we see Goat on mediums, whereas their teammate M1 righty on hards. Same for Mercedes, SS7 on mediums, Mac T on hards, and then Jay starting on those mediums, and then the recovering Spicy Nuts now on the hards. Spicy would be desperate for a safety car now, certainly at some point in the race, to try and bring them back into this, but they are a long way off the back of the pack for certain at the moment. Obo here has dropped off the back of their teammate. You can see, if you look at Obo's battery charge there, they are now under that 10%. So it will take a little while for the battery to recharge, and Obo now doesn't have the advantage of any DRS from their teammate in front, so he's dropped back a little bit from M Dorling. And then we've got another 2.5 second gap from Obo to Decives here in 7th. As there was a very wide J in the background there, and that's giving Emma Leckie the sniff of a potential move on the McLaren driver. Let's get on board with Emma Leckie as we come through turns 80 and then down towards 90. Corner kind of rises up and then dips away on 19 as we head out towards the curbs, and then through turn 20 and onto the start-finish straight. Mind of the fastest lap so far, 136.509, set by Goat Ghosty on lap 3. And already tyres starting to go off. So best lap last time around was a 494 from M Dorling. So as Jay is all over the place in front of us, so that is definitely letting Emma Leckie through. And I was headed back to the front just to see if there's anything had switched around, but no, we are as you were. So Goat dragging M1 right in now. M1 is going to go through on Goat. And SS7 has decided to do the same thing. So SS7 down on the inside of M1 righty into turn 12. Can they hold on to this position as we go round 13? No, M1 still has that inside through 13, but now SS7 has made their way through. Good move from SS7, moves them up into second place, and SS7 knows that they have got to get after. Oh no, they have got M1 righty on their inside there. Oh no, I do apologise. They have swapped positions, so M1 has gone ahead of Goat Ghosty. Goat there dropped back, so I thought for a moment there SS7 was trying to hold on to the coattails of Goat ahead of him, but that was actually M1 righty. So Pete, thank you for that correction in my ear. SS7 backed out of that now, letting their teammate Mac T through. And it's going to be a real Mercedes Alpine battle through to the end of this race. M1 has opened up over a second now through all that squabbling as a result from Goat. So Goat no longer will have DRS, and that is going to give Mac T an opportunity to get through on Goat Ghosty. So that may not have worked out for the Alpines as quite as they would have hoped. And we have a yellow flag in Sector 1. That is for Jay, Pete is telling me. But Jay is moving again, so hopefully that yellow flag will clear. As Mac T goes through on Goat Ghosty, inherits second place and now has to get after M1 righty. They cannot let M1 get away here. So maybe these medium tyres starting to go already, and that's what I experienced in the Ironman. The medium tyres were not the greatest ones to be on. Well, they were for a few laps, but they quickly went off. And certainly, I think there were about 4 or 5 pit stops for everyone during the Ironman. That was a 100% race. If you haven't joined us on a Sunday, every other Sunday we do an Ironman 100% race. And that's really when strategy and tyre selection comes into play. And we learned a lot that day about how this game reacts. And there were many, many more pit stops during that race than you would see in a real-world F1 race around the circuit of the Americas. So Mac T 1.8 seconds back from M1 righty on lap 8. They're going to close that down, but in doing so we'll be dragging Goat Ghosty and SS7 with them. Got a slight lag on the stream there, folks, so apologies for that. SS7 trying to stay with Goat Ghosty, but here comes M Dorling, and this wait and see strategy from M Dorling may pay off in the long run. They're on those hard tyres, which will go a long way here. I'd be surprised if we see a two-stopper today, but you never know. There looks to be a little bit of a look there from Goat Ghosty and, or was that SS7 on Goat Ghosty? No, it was Goat Ghosty taking a look down the inside very briefly of Mac T, but thinking better of it on this occasion. So M Dorling just hanging there. They do want to stay within DRS range. They cannot afford to get off the back of them, but we'll see M Dorling there with pretty much no battery left, so that's going to hamper them staying with these cars in front. You will gradually see that ERS recharge as M Dorling lifts off the power into some of these corners, but is desperately trying to stay with SS7 at the moment. And we are with SS7 here. Goat Ghosty was, I think, blinking very, very briefly up ahead. So Goat does have some charge left, and they are looking to try and at least stay with Mac T here for as long as they can, closing up under DRS into turn 1. That gap between M1 righty and Mac T is starting to drift out a little bit now, 2.1 seconds. And Goat Ghosty picks up a 3-second time penalty. That is really going to hurt them later on in this race if our drivers stay so close together as they are at the moment. Mac T so much quicker than M1 righty, I think, through turns 5, 6 and 7 there, so able to close in very slightly on the Alpine ahead and open up a little bit of a gap to Goat Ghosty. But we will see that gap between Goat and Mac T come down under DRS now as we ride on board with Goat. Glorious sunny day in Texas. 28% chance of rain, so it's not entirely impossible. But very unlikely before we get to the end of this race. Just coming up on a third of the way through now. And here Goat is doing their best to hang on to these medium tyres whilst also trying to hang on to the back of Mac T. But that 3-second penalty is going to play into the hands of SS7 here. They won't need to push too hard if this is where they stand towards the end of the race, as long as they also stay clear of any track limit warnings or any other associated penalties. So looking good for SS7 and MAC-T, so potentially a good point scoring day from a constructor's perspective, and it's largely going to come down to the pit stops now. We're on lap 10. I predicted first pit stops for our medium runners around about lap 13-14. If Goat is really struggling, they may look to go in a little bit sooner. The undercut's pretty powerful here, as we see SS7 going very, very wide there. Well, certainly hanging on to the rear end of their Mercedes. Pretty to watch, but not the fastest way around that corner. So maybe these mediums are entirely on their way out. So SS7 could think about a pit stop sooner rather than later. Perhaps use the power of the undercut, which could be worth 1 to 2 seconds round here, and could leapfrog SS7 into the lead of this race potentially. But then they will of course have much older tyres towards the end of this race compared to everyone behind them. So SS7 has dropped out of DRS with that slide, I think, through turn 2 or 3 there. So setting them back a little bit from Goat Ghosty. And Goat now is really on the rear end of MAC-T, so not struggling too much with grip at this moment in time for Goat. M1 Righty gradually stretching their lead now, 2.6 seconds ahead of MAC-T. And SS7 is back into the DRS of Goat, and Goat is really looking very racy at the moment. As we come past the start-finish straight to start in lap 11. Just using that opportunity to recharge a bit of the battery here, which, as we've been talking about, is ever so valuable. And certainly Goat is able to stay with MAC-T for most of that sequence of corners, but you see them back out towards the end, and that is that grip of the medium tyres gradually going away. 3-second time penalty for Obo now, so we may see a few more of these as drivers start to struggle on these older tyres. As Pete's rightly saying, the field is starting to spread out a little bit, other than this three-way battle we have between Goat and MAC-T and SS7 now joining into the party, having got back onto the back of the Alpine driver. Goat did look for a possible opportunity around the outside into turn 12. But MAC-T defending on the inside retains second position on track. And that's brought SS7 right back into play now. It may also play into the hands of M. Dorling, although they have dropped nearly 4 seconds back from SS7. Then another 4 seconds back to Desaves in the Williams, followed by Obo, who's picked up that 3-second time penalty. Then comes Emeleki in 8th. And then the two McLarens of Spicy and Jay having the race that they probably wish to forget, I think, at this point in time. But points for all our drivers, obviously points paid for the top 10 finishing positions. So it's, even if you're having a dreadful race, it's worth sticking out there on track. You never know what might happen later on in the race, and you're guaranteed to at least get 1 point if you get over the finish line. Let's get down to Emeleki, who is coming up onto the back of Obo. I've been watching this gradually, and Emeleki does tend to build into races, a bit like M. Dorling. Maybe this race may come to Emeleki gradually here. The master of the safety car, Emeleki, I would say. They always seem to know when to pit and when not to, when there is a disruption to the normal order of things, and they took full advantage of that in Zandvoort last season, coming through to win that race in very dramatic fashion. If you've not watched any of the previous GFR Elite League races, please take a moment to do so. They're all available on our Twitch channel and on our YouTube channel. I should say on Twitch, so I think they're removed after about 4 or 5 weeks, all our previous ones, but every single one from Season 1, all the Ironman races, through to Season 3 of the Elite League, all available for you to watch on our M1 Racing YouTube channel. And we're with Emeleki here, who is working hard to get into the range of DRS of Obo in front of them, and they're doing a pretty good job as we've got our first pitters. So Goat and SS7 both in on the end of lap 13. So my prediction roughly about right for those medium tyres. Emeleki though and Obo are definitely staying out there. It's going to bring Goat and SS7 out behind Emeleki, and they will be looking to close down the Williams driver and perhaps get some DRS from them. We see Obo's red light blinking in front of us, so Obo pushing hard to stay away from the clutches of Emeleki. And now Emeleki is within 1 second, so they will get the benefit of DRS as we come through turn 11 in just a few moments' time. And Emeleki starting to come into this race now. Through turn 10, that little kink, and down to turn 11. Very wide from Obo on the exit of 11, so real opportunity here for Emeleki. Obviously helped by the 3-second penalty from the Ferrari in front also. Doesn't look there's enough, close enough to make a move into turn 12, but that has put us right on the back of the Ferrari. Does look as though Obo may have been closing in a little bit on Decives also, so both of these drivers getting very close to being a three-way battle between 4th and 6th. Got my eye on the times for Ghosty and SS7. 3-second time penalty for M. Dorling. That's going to hurt M. Dorling later on as well. So a few more of those penalties will come. We're literally at the halfway point now. Lap 14 of 28 of round 5 G-Force Racing Elite League. In season 3, halfway point, and it's all to play for in the league. M1 Righty missed one race, and that gave Charlie Ark the opportunity to come through. And there's lots of penalties, as Pete's saying. Let me bring those up as we're at the halfway point. So 3 seconds for M. Dorling, Obo, Ghosty and Spicy Nuts. And 6 seconds for Jay. I guess Jay probably really doesn't care about those at the moment. They'll be looking to see that through as we've got Emeleki closing up very close on the rear end of Obo. This could be the moment for Emeleki to get through into 5th place. They move out from behind the slipstream of Obo and a very easy pass into turn 12, and Emeleki moves into 5th and will be looking to try and get after their teammate of Decives in front, who is 2.5 seconds ahead on track. And Jay is into the pits. So switching on to brand new hard tyres for Jay. They will look to take those to the very end of the race. So Pete's telling me there's only 19 seconds between Ghosty and M1 Righty, and that's going to tell us a story about the undercut here. So Goat still has the fastest lap, hasn't beaten that 136.509. SS7 setting purple sectors at the moment. As I say that, Goat did set a faster lap, 136.204, but SS7 set an even faster time, 135.861. So SS7 loving those brand new hard tyres at this point, and this is helping them close in, not just on Obo and Emeleki in front of them, and they'll want to get past these drivers very, very quickly. But it's going to close down the gap as Goat is trying to desperately find a way past Obo. It's going to be tough to do. And DRS is enabled, and SS7 goes down the inside of Obo before we even get to the DRS zone. So those hard tyres feeling very, very old for Obo right now. So SS7 through, as is Goat Ghosty now on Emeleki. So Goat up into 5th. It's DRS and SS7 going straight on with them. So excellent battle between Goat and SS7 here. And this is all closing down the gap to M1 Righty and MacT in front. So this is likely to put Goat Ghosty into the lead of this race when M1 Righty and MacT come in. We saw the medium tyres only go 13-14 laps. So M1 and MacT will want to delay their pit for as long as they can. as we see a car of M. Dorling going into the pit. So that's enough on their hard tyres for M. Dorling. So M. Dorling's the first to switch from hards to mediums. We're on lap 16 of 28. As we head round through turn 1 back down the hill, and Ghosty now has got that gap down to Mac T to 12.7 seconds. So bear in mind a pit stop here around the Circuit of the Americas is a good 20 to 25 seconds. That is going to give Goat and SS7 a significant lead when M1 Righty and Mac T eventually come out. To give you a comparison on lap times, M1 Righty's last lap was a 138.428, and SS7 and Goat Ghosty 137.07. So very 1.5 seconds faster basically for Goat and SS7 here every single lap for now at least on those hard tyres, and those hard tyres able to go all the way to the end of the race now. Lighter fuel loads for these drivers in the second half. So M1 Righty and Mac T leaving it late, but they will be quicker. It's just how much quicker and how much time are they giving up here to Goat Ghosty and SS7. I'm going to get down to Obo, who was passed earlier by Emelecki, but is still in contention with the Williams here as Obo heads into the pit. So that's Obo in for a set of brand new medium tyres, I expect. As their teammate M. Dorling is on brand new mediums. I would be surprised if they don't set a fastest lap very soon, or indeed Mac T here, who is on brand new medium tyres. So M1 Righty still has not pitted on lap 17, so genuinely leaving it to the last minute here. Goat Ghosty now 15 seconds back from their teammate, but has been in that 20 to 22, 23 seconds for a pit stop here, maybe a little bit longer. So that's going to give Goat Ghosty a hefty advantage initially, but we watch with anticipation of the lap times of these brand new medium runners. M. Dorling the first to set a lap time on brand new mediums was a 136.862. Doesn't compare to SS7's earlier 135.861 on hard. So Pete's just told me SS7 has got past Goat Ghosty. So they are second on track and will inherit the lead of this race. Goat Ghosty, remember, has a 3-second penalty, so it's looking very, very good for SS7 right now. Certainly to potentially take second, maybe third. A lot to depend on what their teammate Mac T does, and also when does M1 Righty pit. They are, they're in now, so thank you, Pete. So I didn't see them coming. So M1 is in the pits, so SS7 assumes the lead the race. We see M1 Righty coming out behind. They've not lost an awful lot of time there. Goat Ghosty is now in second on track, but with that 3-second time penalty. M1 Righty, brand new medium tyres, will be after their teammate very, very quickly. Yellow flag, the Spicy Nuts has spun, is moving again. So Spicy and Jay having a day they would rather forget, it would seem. So SS7 leads this race on lap 18 with Goat Ghosty in second. M1 Righty having just pitted now, 3 seconds back in third. Then Mac T having also pitted just recently, 2.5 seconds back from M1 Righty. So everyone now having completed their pit stops. It is a blast to the end of this race. Bit of a lock up there from Goat into turn 12. Very close behind the Mercedes of SS7. SS7 really doesn't have to fight with Goat Ghosty, with Goat having picked up that penalty, but they also don't want to risk picking up a penalty of their own here. Looks as though SS7 coming onto the back of J, so they may actually get a slipstream and some DRS from the McLaren in front. That will help them out a big deal. M1 has already closed in a second on both Goat and SS7 on that last lap. So these medium tyres working very, very well for our reigning champion as they start lap 19. Mac T sets the fastest lap, a 1:35.463. Jay ghosting there just because Jay is being lapped as Goat moves through, as does SS7. Pete is telling me that M1 Righty is pretty rapid right now, as indeed is Mac T also, but M1 Righty purple in sector 1 already, so there's going to be a new fastest lap as Goat picks up another 3-second time penalty. So Goat is really going to be hurting come the end of this race. As Mac T is trying to close down, we just see them behind the McLaren there in the distance. And now M1 Right is on to the back of SS7. And this is going to be a very easy pass. SS7 decides not to defend too heavily there into turn 12 and sit in behind M1. Now these medium tyres will gradually degrade a little bit faster than those hards. It's really how much they degrade by. And what we've seen from M1 in previous races is they just blast off into the distance, and that lead becomes eventually unassailable. We will see if they can make that work this time around, and it would be a second win of the season for M1 Righty, but not consecutive wins. Roadrunner picked up the win last week in Abu Dhabi with a great drive and their debut victory for GFR, and M1 Righty sets a 1:34.096, nearly 5 tenths faster than anyone else before them. So M1 Righty going well here. Obo picks up another 3-second time penalty. Let's take a look at that. So 6 seconds for Goat Ghosty is going to be playing into the hands certainly of Mac T. They aren't going to be worried too much about that. Potentially M Dorling and Desaves may see that, but M Dorling with 3 seconds, Obo with 6, Emeleki with none at the moment behind Obo, who will get down to them, and then Spicy with 3, Jay with 6. So just 8 more laps to go after this one here, and we will know who our winner is of round 5. It's looking good for the Mercedes team right now. We are with Emeleki as they resume their battle with Obo in front of them. Obo pitting just 1 lap earlier and get back up the top as we see Mac T going through on Goat Ghosty. Mac T blinking there, so they have used up all of their battery making that move. But it has pushed Mac T into third, and Mac T now is going to be after their teammate of SS7. SS7 is in the championship hunt here, so they won't be looking to give up too much ground to Mac T, but they will certainly be looking to protect them from Goat Ghosty. But the Mercedes really now focused on getting after M1 Righty, but M1 Righty is scampering off into the distance. 4.6 seconds ahead of SS7. And as David T says in the chat, absolutely right. So Goat played the team game there, held up the 2 Mercedes drivers, particularly Mac T, allowing M1 to stretch that lead out in front. And that was really Goat's race there. M Dorling now 9 seconds back. Goat is trying to hang on to the rear end of Mac T, but not succeeding. Certainly SS7 will give Mac T a very decent tow into the DRS zone here. So we come round turn 11. We'll see the DRS of Mac T come wide open here. SS7 will not fight this. Actually gives Mac T the more favourable line into turn 12. And that is Mac T through. SS7 follows them through. Then Goat Ghosty. And we've got M Dorling, a big gap here, and we see this battle between that was I do apologise, that's one of the McLarens there. I thought that was a Ferrari. So Desaves just lapping Jay there, it would seem. Then we've got Emeleki, who is now through on Obo, and with no penalties looks to get after their teammate of Desaves. This is definitely not turning out to be the track for Emeleki, but you never know what might happen in these last 6 laps or so. Let's get back up to the battle towards the front here. Mac T is 6 seconds back now from M1 Righty, dragging their teammate SS7 with them, and Goat Ghosty now dropping back with outside DRS. So Goat's race here with SS7 looks to be run, and it will now be the two Mercedes looking. I doubt they'll be battling it out for second and third, but you never know come the end of this race with SS7 on those hard tyres whether or not they will just have a touch more grip than their teammate in front of them. And there's a big difference in points between second and third, so it could be worth stealing that place for SS7. Though we'll see how brave they are. Be an interesting conversation in the Mercedes garage at the end of this race. Let's get down to the McLaren boys, who have had a day that they would rather move on from, I expect, but I'm very glad that they are back with us for a second week, having missed them for a good couple of weeks early on in the season, indeed missing one of their favourite tracks of the season in Belgium, where Lost was particularly rapid. The McLaren's really not able to fight here today, but 9th and 10th will still give them 3 points, so it's worth sticking out there, and wonder whether or not we'll see both drivers in onto some soft tyres with the last couple of laps of the race to go, to try and get a fastest lap and steal a point away from M1 Righty, who currently holds that fastest lap with 1:34.096. Obo hanging on to the back of Emeleki, but with that time penalty is really not going to make much of a difference. M Dorling is into the pits one more time, so maybe they've just had enough of they've just had enough of those medium tyres. As I was saying, folks, those medium tyres I just did not enjoy round this track at all. So I think M Dorling's got the same experience, and it's possibly worth, given where they are in the race, get on those softs, go for a blast, grab the fastest lap, and you never know what might happen. So M Dorling, we will keep an eye on their times, but that has promoted Desaves into 5th place here. 9 seconds now back from Goat Ghosty. And then comes Emeleki. So neither of these Williams drivers have any penalties at all at the moment. So it's a good drive from the Williams team here. Currently in 5th and 6th. But M Dorling might have something to say about that. They are 11 seconds back from their teammate. But on those soft tyres, they will be super rapid very, very quickly, with just 5 laps left to go. A 3-second time penalty for M1 Righty. Now that makes things interesting. We almost never see M1 make a mistake at all, just like any driver or Twitch channel with the title M1 would never make a mistake. M1 Righty doesn't either, but that's a real surprise. And David T also predicting Obo going for some softs and fastest lap. I think we'll see both Ferraris attempting that. It's worth a shot at this point. M Dorling already closing in over a second and a half on their teammate in that lap alone. So these soft tyres are going to be very, very quick. Here comes M Dorling. We will focus on M Dorling for this lap, our first lap on soft tyres, and we'll see what lap time they can do. Their fastest lap so far is a 1:36.316. Remember, the fastest lap of the race, a 1:34.096. So that is the target for M Dorling here. It looks as though they are going to get a tow also from one of the McLarens, although they will be past that McLaren very, very quickly. So no benefit of DRS from that lapped car. Now that was Jay, Peter's telling me. So purple in sector 1 for M Dorling. So it's going well. The 3/10 up on everything in that first sector alone. So very, very quick on those soft tyres. And you can see how over a very long race that that pit stop is pretty much negated very, very quickly if you're going to make up 2-3 seconds a lap just by switching tyres. So M Dorling here coming through sector 2. We'll see if they can improve. I have a separate timing stream, folks, which allows me to see these sectors. They are just slightly purple in sector 2, but purple nonetheless. Mac T now 7 seconds away from M1 Righty, remembering that M1 does have a 3-second penalty, so will have given a small incentive to Mac-T to keep charging. David doesn't think M. Dorling's going to get... if M. Dorling gets fastest lap, in which they do, 133.951 into the 133s for the Ferrari team. M. Dorling has got that potentially that extra point for fastest lap. But let's see if David's prediction is correct that Obo won't pit. I don't know. Obo picks up another 3-second time penalty. I reckon, David, they now will. That's pretty much... I think... Obo's going to lose that that 7th place to M. Dorling almost inevitably. So I can see them coming in. They've got to do it pretty quick. We're going to run out of laps here. But I can see Obo coming through. But M. Dorling has got fastest lap. Emilecki has closed down the gap now to Decives. So David doesn't think Obo will take the point from M. Dorling. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, I wonder how that plays out. I wouldn't be surprised if Obo fancies having a go, but they will be talking to each other. So we shall see what they decide to do. 3 seconds now between Emilecki and Decives. I'm wondering if Emilecki has got enough laps left to get onto the back of their teammate. But the gap between Mac-T and M1 Righty here is pretty much stabilised now at about just over 7 seconds. So M1 Righty leads on lap 26, just 2 more to go after this one, followed by Mac-T and their teammate SS7 second and third. SS7 has given up trying to keep hold of their teammate, and Ghosty has also given up trying to keep hold of SS7. So not too much changing at the front. Decives and here in 5th, a rather lonely 5th at the moment. But Pete is telling me Decives could well be challenging for 4th because of those penalties. And he's absolutely right. 1.5 seconds would be the difference at the moment for Decives to take 4th place away from Goat Ghosty. So I did say those penalties for Goat Ghosty could really hurt them, and that may be the case here. It really depends how much of a charge Decives can make in these final laps. That's probably an incentive also for Emilecki with these last couple of laps to go. I think this is really where the race is, folks. We do have M. Dorling now onto the back of their teammate Obo, and Obo will have absolutely no defence here. They've also got that extra 3-second penalty. I doubt they'll be pushing too hard, but it wasn't an easy pass there for M. Dorling at all, as indeed M. Dorling tucks back in behind their teammate. And perhaps we'll try another time. They don't need to fight here, though, the Ferrari drivers. They know that they've got 7th and 8th with Spicy Nuts over a minute behind, and then Jay a further 46 seconds behind Spicy Nuts. Obo very much struggling to hold on to their car on those medium tyres, which I've said many times already tonight, folks, but you can tell how much they pained me. And is that M. Dorling going in? Well, there you go. M. Dorling's got in. They are... Oh, no, sorry, Obo has gone in. Yeah, sorry, I've got my drivers mixed up. Thank you, Pete. So Obo is in, and they will have one blast. So they are going to try and take that fastest lap away. So Obo's going to go for it. Decives 7.3 seconds back from Goat Ghosty. Goat, remember, has a 6-second penalty. Just 1.3 seconds for Decives to make up. It's a big ask with 1.5 laps of this race to go, but that's what they're going to try to do. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2. That is another one of the McLarens, it would seem. That was Spicy Nuts. Pete is telling me that Spicy is back underway again. So Decives 7.2 seconds back. We are coming round to the final corners of lap 27. M1 leads the way, imperiously leads the way. Now 8 seconds clear of Mac-T, putting the afterburners on the final stages of this race. They are starting lap 28 now. Mac-T here in second, coming over to start their final lap with their teammate SS7 5 seconds back as they come round to start their final lap. Then Goat Ghosty with 6 seconds of time penalties, but also 3 seconds back. Decives now within a second of Goat Ghosty. David has asked how much battery does Obo have. Well, we're on board with them. They've got 42, 60 odd % there. So plenty of battery for Obo to use. And they are going to deploy absolutely every last bean of it on the last lap here. So keep an eye on the fastest lap, folks. Decivest, 6.7 seconds, 6.6 seconds back from Goat Ghosty. It's going to be touch and go for this fourth place here. We are into the final corners here. M1 Righty leading the way, not under any pressure from any driver around them. Now 9.2 seconds back from, or ahead of Mac T, I should say. Decivest 6.5 seconds back, just half a second to make up in these final laps. Goat Ghosty really struggling to get any sort of pace now. Decivest really has got their eye on fourth place. There's M1 Righty, who's going to come round the final corners of the Circuit of the Americas. For round 5 of the G-Force Racing Elite League in Season 3. And M1 Righty wins in Austin. Congratulations, M1 Righty. Just imperious drive from the Alpine driver there. Mac T is going to come round to take second place for themselves and for Mercedes. Then comes SS7. Then comes Goat Ghosty. But we've now got to watch for Decivest. Can they get over the line and steal fourth place? Not quite. Miss out by half a second. Decivest finishes in fifth. Emelecki in sixth. And then come all of the other penalties. So M. Dorling's going to cross the line and we're going to watch for Obo. I think they were improving. But whether or not, I don't see any purple sectors. And I think it's because the game's now finished. So Obo is coming around. We're going to see if they can grab fastest lap. That will be an extra point. Well, very nice sideways move from Obo through turn 19 there. And Obo comes over the finishing line to take 8th place. We haven't seen the fastest lap alert come up, so I suspect probably not good enough for Obo, but worth a shot, although their teammate M. Dorling may not agree with them. SS7 has been given driver of the day by the game. Pete, who would your driver of the day be? M1 Righty for Pete. I'll ask you all you folks in the chat if you want to let me who your driver of the day is. And I'm going to agree with Pete. It's got to be M1 Righty. Just a fantastic, controlled drive from start to finish from M1 Righty. And the second victory for them of the year. And it's going to start cementing their place at the top of the championship as we go into the second half of the season. M1 is the driver to catch. M1 is David T's driver of the day. Also a class drive today. I totally agree. So, indeed, Obo did not get that fastest lap after all. So, 134.268 was the best Obo could do. So, M1 Righty is our victor in Texas. Mac T takes second. SS7 takes third. Goat Ghosty takes fourth. Decivest takes fifth. Emelecki in sixth there. M. Dorling with the fastest lap, 133.951. In seventh, makes up for that seventh place a little bit, give him the extra point. Obo finishes in 8th, Spicy Nuts in 9th, and Jay in 10th. So still points for those McLaren drivers. And you can see the quality of these teams, really. Mercedes really splitting the two Alpines there. Good day for Williams. Points all around, though, for Ferrari and McLaren. So congratulations to all of our drivers. And if we come back to our holding screen here, gives me just a chance to tell you where we are going to be next week. And I've been looking forward to this one ever since Belgium. So Belgium is my favourite track on the whole F1 calendar. But we do love to go to Silverstone. And so I'm very much looking forward to going there next week. I think also, although it doesn't say this on the calendar image graphic that I have, I believe Silverstone is also a sprint race. So we should have a double dose of racing for you next week in Silverstone. If that is true, we will be starting our stream about just before 7:45 p.m. UK time next week. There is no Ironman race this Sunday, which is a shame, but we need to heal our fingers from last weekend. If you'd like to see the replay from last Sunday, if to occupy your upcoming Sunday, please head over to the YouTube channel or our Twitch stream. You'll be able to catch that. But we will have no racing streamed this Sunday. Hey, you go, Ghosty. Welcome back into the chat. Great race from you. Those penalties nearly cost you 4th place in the end. We were talking about that, watching Decives close in on you, but managed just by half a second to stay in front of them. But congratulations on the 4th, and also well done to your teammate M1 Righty. Very, very close at the top. Yeah, Goat was scared. I'm not surprised. I would have been looking over my shoulder as well. So next week we are in Silverstone in the UK for what I believe will be both a sprint and a feature race. But if you have nothing else to do on your Wednesday evening and would like to stick around for a little while longer, we are going to take a short break here on the stream. I'm going to end the stream, but I'm going to be back in around about 15 to 20 minutes or so with episode 3 of the GFR podcast. Now, normally Rio, my co-commentator, would host those, but Rio is in the middle of moving, and he was desperate that we recorded another episode. So that's honour has fallen to me this evening. So if you are around for a next hour and a half or so and want to rejoin our Twitch stream here, I'm hoping to be joined by Charlie Ark. We might be able to find out from Charlie what prevented him from taking part in the race today, because I think Charlie would have gone well round the circuit of the Americas. So we'll hopefully get a chance to talk to Charlie. If any of our drivers here in the chat and coming out of today's race would like to come and join us on the podcast, you'd be welcome to. Just send a message to SS7. He can make sure you have access to the podcast VC in our Discord channel. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, folks, thanks ever so much for following us or even subscribing to us. It really does mean a great deal. And if you are a subscriber, you get to use all our wonderful custom emotes, including our Hannes Reset to Track emote and our very special Senna emotes, remembering the great man here on what was a very sad but momentous day back in 1994. So please take advantage of those emotes, and my thanks to everyone who follows and subscribes to M1 Racing. I don't know if you're aware of this, folks, but we do put all the money that we do make through the stream back into the league. So it goes to SS7 to support the Nitro Boost to the Discord server, and what we would like to be able to do in the future, more to come on this, but actually produce some merchandise for all of our followers, for our subscribers and for our drivers. So that's what the money goes to. We don't do this for a profit, we do it for the fun, and we will invest that back into the league. So thanks for being here, folks. My thanks to Pete for keeping me company as always. My thanks to all our drivers for another incredible round of racing. We will give you all the new current standings at the start of next week's race, just before Silverstone, so we'll see how everyone shakes out after this round in Texas. But last but by no means least, my thanks to all of you for watching here on M1 Racing and being part of the GFR racing community. We look forward to seeing you next week for round 6 in the UK. Come and join me again in about half an hour if you'd like for the podcast. Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday around about 7:45 p.m. UK time, and we'll see you all then. Until then, stay safe. Bye for now. Now we've got 3 cars wide. And Mac T's trying to get down the inside of M. Dorling. They're going to do it. Great switch back from M1 there.